Welcome back, folks. Doing some routine maintenance to the old CX-5. And the car's got 54,000 miles on it. And you can see my my alternator belt is starting to show some wear. Starting to crack. By the way, this is a 2022 model year, in case it matters. Not that it does. Here's my water pump belt. This is a stretch belt. This is the original belt. And look, no issues here, but they should be done at the same time. They're good for about 60,000 miles. Now, I bought all my belts from the dealer, and I want to make this video to kind of, I don't know, give you another way of doing this. So there's a lot of people who are making videos on how to change these stretch belts on these Mazdas, and a stretch belt is a belt that has some elasticity to it. And it's only meant to go on once. Like, you're not really supposed to reuse these. You take it off, you throw it away, even if you're putting it back together. But the belt stretches on its first install, and it remains in tension for the rest of its service life. Now, a lot of people are making videos on all these special procedures and tools, and you need to use a zip tie, and then you need to use a special stretch belt tool. Look, here's what I did. And this is the second one I've done, because I've done my wife's 2016 CX-5, which is the same car. Here's all I did. So I'm going to kind of walk you through it. I put the belt on the crank pulley first. And then I rested it, I pushed it onto this lip right here, onto this the shoulder of the pulley. And then I used my ratchet with a 21 millimeter socket, and I rolled the crank clockwise, keeping my thumb against the belt on the ridge, the ride side of the pulley. What am I trying to say? The V of the pulley. And all I did was I rotated the crank a couple degrees at a time while I'm working this belt onto that pulley. Of course, if you get your thumb stuck in there, well, you're going to have a really bad time. But I didn't do anything special. It took me 2 seconds. It took me literally 2 seconds to get this belt on. And once I rotated the crank one complete revolution, in fact, I'm going to do that again. And we're going to verify that the belt is seated properly on the crank. Of course, this engine has really good compression, so let me just give this a try. I didn't even take the belly pan off. Yeah, that belt is on. It's on completely. Okay? See, what you don't want is you don't want the belt to be off a groove. Okay, it's not that hard. And the dealer, I called my dealer, and they were going to charge me $350 to do this job. From what I've been reading, that's actually on the low side. Some dealers will charge $600 to do this job. We're half done. That's the easy part. I mean, that's the hard part. The easy part is doing the alternator belt. No special tools, nothing. But I was going to pay the dealer to do this because I just didn't have time. So I made time. I got shit to do. I got a life to live. Don't we all? Obligations and the like. This may be the harder one because now I have to get it back up onto that pulley. But you get the idea. And the back of the belt rides against this. Oh yeah, while we're here, let's check that tensioner. It rolls okay. Not making noise. Probably get one more belt out of this one, and then we'll have to change it. Doesn't have any play. Bearings feel nice. Same with the water pump too. But yeah, I mean, it's really not that hard, guys. It's not that hard. So this is kind of the challenging part, though, and I didn't expect it to be this. I expected it to be something else entirely, but trying to get that belt on the alternator has proven to be surprisingly the more challenging part of this job. Hold on, my phone is... I need to figure this part out. I can't film and work at the same time. So I'm gonna do my best. That's all I can do. And I keep hitting buttons and stuff that throws my phone off of recording mode. Let me try it this way. See if that gives you a better look. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my 18mm wrench, and there are plenty of videos that show how to do this. I'm not gonna take away their thunder, but the 17mm, not an 18mm, bolt that you have to put the wrench on. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you retract the tensioner, but I can't kind of walk and chew gum here. It's actually not that difficult, but it's just a bit cumbersome because you don't have a lot of room to work here. So I'm going to slowly compress the tensioner with my wrench while I'm working this belt on. Okay. Again, not rocket science. But see, that's as far as she goes. Okay, so you get the belt started on the pulley, and you grab your ratchet and you roll that crank over. You seat it onto the belt pulley, the harmonic balancer specifically. All right. Bada boom, bada bing. Not so bad, but I think we are. Nope, we're good there. All right, crank it. There we go. One complete revolution, and you're home free. Okay. I think. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. So look at that. So we would just double check, make sure we're centered in the grooves. We're centered in the grooves on the air conditioner compressor. I can do it by feel. Yeah. Good. Alternator looks like it's off by one groove. So I think, yeah, we got to fix that. It's on. Both belts are on now. Before we lower the car, we can start it up and just make sure it runs okay. Not too bad. Is it worth $300? No. Not at all. Seriously, $300? We're good. Not bad. This just kicked in. Good. Welcome back, folks. I have a little kind of a tip for those of you who own, well, this can apply to many vehicles, but I have a Mazda CX-5, a 2022 CX-5, and my car is equipped with a factory sunroof. Now, anyone who's ever owned a car with a sunroof before will know that these leak. They just do. There's nothing you can do. The manufacturer actually has they designed this into the sunroof system. It's basically the sunroof cassette mechanism, which is the entire assembly. They're designed to take in water. because the seal on from the glass to the roof is not a tight seal. It will allow water through. The most important thing to keep in mind is, well, number one, be aware that this unit is designed to take in water, and plan accordingly. And how do you plan accordingly? Well, what you've got to do is make sure your sunroof drains are draining. And you can do that. There are plenty of videos on how to clean them out. And one way that I find works pretty well is you use a little bit of string trimmer line, like for a weed whacker. And it is not going to harm anything. You don't want to stick metal down the drains, because the drains are right about in this region here. And there's a plastic tube that goes down the A-pillar. And it goes down to right behind the front wheel on either side. In the back, there are two drains. And they go down the A, B, C pillar, or D pillar. In this case, I think it's the C pillar. And they drain out by the rear wheels. Occasionally, these drains do get clogged. And if they do, you're going to have a bad time. So you want to make sure that they're clear. Now, my drains are clear, and yet I had some water staining here and here. This is still here, but there was also some staining on the A-pillar on the driver's side. Nowhere else in the vehicle. And the first thing I did was I checked my drains. I made sure they were draining, and they are. I physically checked with some string trimmer, and I found no obstruction whatsoever. So then I took a bottle of water, or a pitcher of hot water, and I started pouring it into the trough, right with the sunroof open. You can see there's a trough in there. And sure enough, all the drains are draining without issue. So what's my next conclusion? Well, here's my thought. I believe I went through a couple of rainstorms that were quite nasty. And I may or may not have overwhelmed the drain capacity on this sunroof, which led to water coming here, here, and it was just a small amount. Now, let me clarify. I have no point in time have I ever gotten into my car during or after a rainstorm and had water on the floor. That's typically your first sign that there's a problem. It's never happened to me. But the wet headliner, or the staining, the telltale staining on the headliner, is a dead giveaway that at some point in time, water got past the trough and into the headliner area. Now, this is something that can happen even on the best of sunroofs. This is only my third car with a sunroof. The first one was a Volkswagen from the 80s. The second one was a Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with a panoramic roof. And now this one. So I've not experienced this in any other car I've owned. Because typically I don't buy the trim levels that are high enough to include a sunroof. Now, what I was able to do, now that I know the drains are working, I know things are actually not that bad, and I did pull back this seal, and I don't see any water damage. I don't see any evidence that there's a recurring problem. Well, what do we do now? Well, in my case, I wanted to focus on, or how do I get rid of these stains? So what I have found is that a white microfiber, it has to be white, bright white microfiber cloth. I would wash it a few times. I wouldn't take a brand new one out of the pack. I would wash one so that any oils and dyes or anything that might be in it are gone. And no fabric softener. And then I took some, I used just general carpet cleaner, fabric cleaner, carpet cleaner, automotive grade. And I soaked that microfiber cloth in the carpet cleaner. And then what I did is I worked it into the stain, and it worked. It removed all the staining. I missed this spot right here, but this kind of can show you what it kind of looks like. This is a white headliner, or a tan headliner. A black one may show it differently. And then there was some over here. And as you can clearly see, the staining is gone. This is just a shadow. Maybe I could treat it one more time, but for the most part, the staining is gone. And again, you don't do anything special. Don't get your carpet vacuum steam thing. No, just use a little bit of carpet cleaner on a microfiber cloth. The product that I used specifically, I believe, was Meguiar's automotive carpet cleaner and upholstery cleaner. And I just massaged it and I worked it around the stain to kind of blend it in case it left any residue, and it did not. It looks brand new. And this may happen again. So, like I said, I think it has more to do with the fact that I went through a monsoon with this car one time. We drove to Tennessee. The car was only about a year old. And I drove it all the way to Tennessee in an absolute downpour through most of New York. And it was horrible. And I think that drove the water where it ain't supposed to go. Now, I do go through a ton of car washes, and at no point, like I just had this through a car wash, and I checked as I was washing the car. I'm checking and feeling for any wet nothing. What else? Another thing that can cause this, and this may have happened to me, I think, once. So if the sunroof is left tilted like this in the vent mode, what that's going to do is it's going to open up that seal all around. And it's going to allow more water than it was designed to handle. Even though that water may not necessarily come into the interior, it will overwhelm the drain should there be like an overnight rain. And it will allow more water into the vehicle than it's designed to take in. When it's closed, it's not, water can't gush in, but it will drip in. But when it's tilted up, all bets are off. That seal is now null and void, and you've got nothing to really protect you from the onslaught of even a brief rainstorm. So it's entirely possible that I could have left it tilted once. I know it happened once during a rainstorm, and I didn't notice it until after the fact, and there was water everywhere. So I'm thinking one of two things. Either it was that one time I left it tilted up, or it was that one time I went through a monsoon and overwhelmed the drain capacity, because you can only allow so much water can go through those tiny little 1/4-inch lines. I think 1/4 to a 1/2-inch lines. The hole is very small. Only so much water can be dispersed with that system, clean or otherwise. So yeah, that's probably what happened. But this is by no means a regular occurrence. This sunroof does not, I can take this thing through the heaviest of car washes, and I keep this open, and I look just to make sure that water's not gushing into my car. But just to drive home the point, sunroofs leak. They always have, and they always will. The manufacturers design around that. Even the panoramic ones leak. So don't be too scared. What? Don't be afraid to buy a car with a sunroof. Just make sure that your drains are clear and that your sunroof is closed during a rainstorm. In fact, don't leave your car with the sunroof open if possible. Now, this is one thing that really pisses me off. And there are very few things that Mazda does that make me really question their prowess as a vehicle company. But other automakers, and I can cite Hyundai, for example, if you shut the car off and you open the door and the sunroof is open, it alerts you. My Santa Fe Sport did this, and I've been in other vehicles that also do this. Mazda, their electrical, their driver warning system, what would you even call that? The convenience features are a little bit lacking in a Mazda when compared to even Hyundai. Mazda does not sell their cars on how great their technology is. They sell their cars on reliability and handling. And And kudos to and style, as a matter, and style is a big part of it too. Mazda produces a great vehicle when it comes to those three parameters. But what they don't do, and this isn't a bad thing, but something to be aware of, is what they don't do is load their cars with technology and bells and whistles like the Korean automakers do, like the Germans do. This could lead to less problems down the road as there's less switches, less sensors, and less software running in the background. But the side effect is you might leave your sunroof open in a rainstorm accidentally. It could happen to you. So what we're doing right now is we're going to go through a car wash. Now, just so you all are aware, I always pick the touch-free option because I don't want my car getting beaten up. But we're going to see. We're going to do a little leak test here. We're going to see how much water is coming into my car, if any at all. This is how we do it. Go through a car wash, and let's just see if we can even see water coming through. See if we can see that water make its way through that seal. If any. You're gonna see water. It's gonna come right down. See where that red paint is? That's the exterior of the car. That's typically where you're gonna see water make its way through. I hear dripping. Where is it dripping? Here we go. I'm not really seeing anything here. Not yet. We're gonna, and that would be completely normal if we do. Looking in the trough, that's the water trough right there. Here we go. So far, nothing. Maybe a trickle here and there, maybe. But the moment we get this sunroof into tilt mode or into, vent mode, oh boy, that's gonna just overwhelm those drains. But I don't see anything coming through, honestly. What about the other side? Zoom in. See anything? I don't. I say the sunroof is sealing better than I ever expected. And one more pass. Monsoon season, here we go. Now I got my hand on the B pillar. I don't feel any water at all. Nothing's coming through. Absolutely nothing. So the water it would be seen where you see red is where the sunroof meets the body of the car. One of the perks of having a red car for this demonstration is you could actually see it. But I don't see any water, any drips, nothing. I thought I saw one there. Nope. Let's go all along the front edge anyway. Now the rear edge could be a different story, but I can't really see the rear edge. Can I? No, I really can't. I can't see the rear. But, geez, I was expecting to see water pouring into the damn thing, honestly. But I see nothing. Absolutely nothing. Can't get a shot at that drip rail, but so right there, I think I see the drain. Now the drain's further south from there, but literally sealing quite nicely. Was not expecting that. I was expecting, oh geez, I was expecting a little bit. Once again, we'll look over this way. It looks pretty dry to me. Honestly, that's not what I was expecting. Here comes the dry. So we got completely dry. Completely dry. No water. Well. I don't even feel air at all. It's like I would expect to feel maybe a little bit of air come through at least, but no, not a thing. Well, what did we learn? So I was expecting the sunroof to actually leak. So that pretty much confirms one of my suspicions, and that was the water that obviously came through was more than likely that one time I left the sunroof in its tilted position, vent position, and it happened to rain that day, and that would have overwhelmed the drains and caused some spillover. And that is why I've cleaned it up, but I had a little bit of staining on my headliner. I'm going to give it another treatment with the same stuff I used before. I found a spot that I had missed. But it just kind of goes to show that sometimes automakers get it right. And Mazda, oh, look at that. Speaking of getting it right, that is the Ford Bronco Heritage Edition. And I just love the way those look. It's absolutely gorgeous, well done, retro styled SUV. Unfortunately, it has a Ford powertrain in it, and I just can't get myself to pay money for that. So anyway, those EcoBoost engines are not holding up so well as we're finding. But anyway, sometimes automakers get it right. And I think Mazda, when they built this car, they really got it right. We're at 54,000 miles. I have only about 6,000 miles of warranty left on this thing, and I just don't have any complaints. Anything that's worthy, anything substantial. There is one minor complaint, and there is a TSB and a fix for it. Mine is one of many Mazda Skyactiv 6-speeds that upon initial takeoff in the early morning, you fire it up, you get in the car, you take off. The first 2 to 3 shift is a little bit chunky, and there is a software update for it. It's a simple in and out procedure. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to just bring it into the dealer to get my next oil change. I did the last one myself, and I'm going to bring it in and just have them change the oil. I'm going to see if they can do that software patch for me, and I'm sure I have to pay for it, but it is under warranty, so that actually might be covered. I'm going to try to push for that. But not only that, I'm going to have the tires rotated, and I gotta pick up some windshield washer fluid, so that's why I'm here. So let me go do that.